Welcome back in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365. Back for another full week of content. Joined now by Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports. Jeff, how you doing on this Monday morning, brother?
Pretty good. Actually getting furniture replaced downstairs in the new office. So this might be the last time you see this wonderful backdrop before you.
Oh, new office. That's exciting. We'll be looking forward to. Is it going to be unveiled next week, Jeff?
It might be. It's here next week or 2 weeks. The furniture will be in. I still got to get my contractor to put shelves in and everything. But yeah, we're close.
All right, Jeff's big time in us with a new office. He's going to hang out with Tony Romo and Jim Nance this week. So big goings on at the Kerr household. Exciting days. How excited are you? I don't know how much you heard, but in Baltimore, I was not excited by the linebackers, Jeff Kerr, the starting linebackers. The backups played great.
That was one of my takeaways. That was one of my takeaways from the game. They have a lot more depth at linebacker than I thought they did 3 weeks ago. I think Jeremiah Trier looks like he's going to be a player. Ben Van Sumeren had a good game. I thought Nakobe Dean played better than expected. Now, of course, Nakobe Dean still can't cover the pass, but he played well on Friday. But I'm a little concerned about Zach Bond and Devin White, and more so Zach Bond than Devin White right now.
Yeah, it was a difficult 14 reps, and it was interesting because Big Fangio spoke before practice, and I asked him about Nakobe, Ben, and Trot specifically, and he said good things, but he also put which he should. He tempered it by saying, they're playing against second and third team guys, and that, as we talked about, that Baltimore backup quarterback situation is just, I don't know what's going on. That's a good organization. I don't know how they can go into a season with that backup quarterback situation, but
they went from a situation where they had Tyler Huntley and Anthony Wright, who, by the way, people forget, Wright started a playoff game and actually played pretty decently for them and to what they got now.
Yeah, and Lamar's the MVP. He's a great player, but he's susceptible to getting injured. So I think you better have a better backup plan than Josh Johnson. But that's me.
But by the way, John, did you happen to see the whole circle of life thing with Josh Johnson this weekend with the Trotters?
Oh, well, I did not, but he's been.
So when Trotter came back to the Eagles the third time was in 2009, his first game was against the Bucks. Josh Johnson was the starting quarterback.
Oh,
who did Trotter Jr. sack on Friday night?
Yeah. Well, and by the way, Trotter Jr. looked good. I'm starting to think he's going to be on the field sometime this season. Not week 1, but whether it's week 4, week 8.
Thank you.
Here's the Josh Johnson resume. I don't know if we have enough time left in the show. Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Sacramento Mountain Lions of the great, I think that was
the United Football League.
UFL, Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, back to San Francisco, back to Cincinnati, New York Jets, Indy, Buffalo, Baltimore in 2016. So he's back to Baltimore. Giants, Texans, Raiders, Redskins, not the Commanders, Redskins, the great San Diego Fleet, back to some minor league football. That would be AAF, yeah. Detroit Lions, the Los Angeles Wildcats,
XFL,
San Francisco, back to San Francisco, back to the Jets, Denver, again back to San Francisco, and Baltimore. That is Josh Johnson. By the way,
played in every minor league football major one since the first XFL in 2001.
And Eagles fans love him from the championship game when Hassan Reddick wrecked that. I think
Eagles fans like Josh Johnson because
I think Christian McCaffrey was a better quarterback that day than Josh Johnson. But that's the Ravens' backup. So that's embarrassing, by the way. But this is an Eagles show. the whole point about Vic saying tempering things with the backup linebackers, which he should, because that's important context. But guess what? Lamar wasn't out there. Derrick Henry wasn't out there. The vast majority of the Ravens starters weren't out there.
Even Nelson Aguilar wasn't out there.
Nelson wasn't out there. So Zach Bond and Devin White were dealing with backup players, and they were getting gouged, and they were in the wrong gaps and doing the wrong things. And when you get to September 6th in Brazil and Matt LaFleur, that's a good team, good coaching staff, good offense. What do you think they're game planning for, Jeff?
Oh, I'm game planning for them. I'm sending Dontrevion Wicks and see. I'm drawing a blank on the Packers receivers because there's so many of them.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, Romeo Dobbs. Christian Watson,
Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed. So we just named 4 legit NFL players. Oh, by the way,
you don't even talk about Watkins because he's always hurt, but he's phenomenal when he does play. Yeah, Green
Josh
Bay's
Jacobs
loaded.
is there. Oh man, it could be ugly if they don't get this fixed.
Jeff, why to me does it feel like they're both playing out of position? Like Devin White, I don't think he should be a Mike, and he's playing at the Mike. And then Zach Bond, it was really not brought in here to be an off-ball linebacker, but he's been an off-ball linebacker. Is the switch as simple as, putting them in better positions? I think Devin White would be better served as a will linebacker, and a guy like Nakobe Dean or Jeremiah Trotter Jr., take your pick, the more instinctive guy, is better at the mic. Am I wrong in saying that?
You have a low suit and you're trying to make it 3 of a kind. That's basically my best analogy for it. I mean, they just don't have it. It's, Devin White's going to be on the field. I think he'll be on the field week 1. I think they like his athleticism, but I mean, look, Zach Bond looked like he was going to be the starter week 1, and then this past week, I don't think he's done anything. I think they like his toughness, but how much is toughness going to get you when guys are just beating you across the middle when you're out of position? Look, this defense should be a lot better than what it is, but the linebacking situation, again, I've said it all season. It was organizational malpractice what they did.
Yeah, that's so, I'm not the hater. Listen to Jeff. Organizational malpractice. I might steal that from you because I'm kind of feeling that way. At the linebacker position, unless they shift gears. And I thought coming off that game, Jeff, we might see a different, we might see a sea change at Sunday's practice because it's been 10 straight practices of Devin White and Zach Bond as the starters. No competition in theory, like you saw Ringo mixing in at times with Isaiah Rodgers, Quinyon Mitchell in the slot. Linebackers have been steady, and then they're back out there for day 11 after that performance. What am I missing?
Beats me. I mean, look, I just don't think they want to throw Trotter into the fire yet. I don't think they want to throw Ben Van Summer into the fire yet, and they know Nakobe Dean's limitations. I mean, that's the guy I think that can challenge those two.
Well, Nakobe has limitations. Don't get me wrong, but he is what people thought Nakobe Dean was at Georgia compared to the 2 guys in front of him. Like, he's better than those 2 guys.
I agree. I think Nakobe Dean should be getting that opportunity right now. I don't know why he's not.
Yeah, and maybe it is just, and he's coming back from a serious injury and he's getting incrementally better, and we still have time.
You remember, John? He did admit to us he wasn't really cleared for full anything until basically
minicamp. So he wasn't. He. I think the assumption is he's cleared. He's back to being what he was, but it doesn't work that way. You generally need a ramp up. I would be stunned if Nakobe Dean's not a starting linebacker on this team against Green Bay.
I think Nakobe looked a lot better than Zach Bond. I mean, you're not playing against the greatest guys. I know that, but I thought Nakobe did look decent in the game on Friday night compared to what I was expecting after hearing about what he looked like in practice.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be Nakobe and Devin week 1?
I do. Week 1, and I think it's
yeah,
going to
but
be.
why if that's the case, you're telling me it's going to be Nakobe at the will and Devin at the mic?
Well, I don't know because
They could change it.
They had a dime package yesterday, and Nakobe was the only player on the field. So I think things are trending positively. Like, I think a lot of people shut off, and I wrote about this at SI. Oh, they're out there for the first rep, and they shut it off. But there was a ton of rotation. I saw Nakobe out there with Devin. I saw Nakobe out there with Bond. I saw Nakobe out there with Trotter. He was the only linebacker in the dime package. So while the first play, it's been the same 2 guys. They are shipped. They are. And you would think at this time, Jeff, that you're shortening the rotation, so to speak, like a basketball coach. They seem to be lengthening the rotation. So I think that's the sign where I look at, well, probably it's going to be Nakobe Dean week 1. And then we'll see who plays Mike, who plays Will, who's got the green dot. Yeah, but to me, I mean, Vic must like something about Devin White. I don't know.
I think it's athleticism.
That's well, yeah. Everybody knows he from line A to B, he's phenomenal. Unfortunately, that's not what linebacker play is about. I don't know. Does PFF have a personal bias against Devin White?
I don't think so. Do the Bucs have a personal bias against Devin White?
Well, he loves Todd Bowles. And by the way, he's a great guy. I'm rooting for him.
He's
I know
easy
people
to root
don't believe
for.
that. But
Isaiah Rodgers is easy to root for too.
Yeah. There's nothing that says this is going to turn around to me from what he did in Tampa. And what he did in Tampa is so overrated. I mean, he was consistently bad, except for the 3-game run to the Super Bowl.
You know what, John? Again, I'll switch because I cover 2 sports. I mentioned the Phillies today. I put out a tweet about their certain guys' numbers since July 1st, and I put JT Realmuto out there. Someone goes, "Oh, your JT Realmuto stats flawed because he came back on July 20th." I'm like, he's still hitting 150. He's not hitting any better. I don't know what you want. It's kind of like the same thing with Devin White, right? It's people just don't want to admit that there's a reason why this guy's not in Tampa Bay anymore. He's not that good.
Yeah.
And
we're going to see.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm wrong. And hopefully the light comes on. But do I need to bring him up again? 2019 as a rookie, 68 of 90 all-ball linebackers. 2021, 62 of 83. 2020, sorry. 2021 was his worst season, 79th of 86. Had a score in the 30s. You never even see that, Jeff. 2022, 74th of 81. 2023, 80 of 82. Everybody thinks that was his worst season. That's where I hear it every day from my buddy Ed Kratz. Well, he's worried about his contract. He got hurt. That was his worst season. No, it wasn't. That was his 3rd best season. He was far worse in 2021 and 2022. He actually played better.
He's always out of position. That's my issue with him. He's just always out of position. And this is where I feel bad because someone I'm really rooting for is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And I want to see him do well in this league. But this organizational malpractice they created, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will probably be playing a lot earlier than people think.
Listen, if you guys are right, I'm at the point where why not just rip the Band-Aid off on Trotter Jr.? I know he might not be ready, but if the other guys are as bad as they look in right now, shoot, just put the young guy out there. You got 4 years with him. He's going to get better each game. Rip the Band-Aid off and let him play. I mean, if the linebackers are going to be bottom 5 anyway.
I'm going to tell you this, Sander. Anybody remember Macho Harris? I thought he was a really good player in training camp. He had his limitations too, but if they wouldn't have thrown him into the fire week 1, he wouldn't have been as bad as he was the first 5 weeks of the year, and then you never heard from him again. If he had that time, I'm not saying Montrezl Harris is going to be an all-pro or anything, but I saw it with him. I saw it with Nate Allen. They just threw these guys in, and it just did not work out. And these guys are solid football players, but you throw them into the Wolves, and you get bit by the Wolves. It ain't good.
That's true, Jeff. Let me ask you about
Will Shipley, perfect example. He admitted it to me on Friday night. You have self-doubt. You made it, but you have self-doubt. You can play. He said that touchdown he had Friday night got rid of that.
Good stuff for Will Shipley. I thought he had a great game, by the way. But Jeff, real quick, staying on the defense. I know we just extensively talked about the linebackers. We've been doing it for the first 40 minutes of the show here. If this is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, how concerned are you on this defense to help them get there? I mean, we've talked overall, not just on the linebacker position, but you want to get up to an 18th, 15th ranked defense in the league, somewhere in that range, and your offense, a top 5, presumably offense, can take you over the top. Do we have concerns on the defense even being middle of the pack at this point?
I still think they can be middle of the pack, even with linebacker, because I think your secondary is going to be a lot better than maybe I thought. I like how they're putting Quinyon Mitchell in the slot. He's going to be a player, by the way. I think Quinyon Mitchell's going to be really good.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
Yeah.
My concern there, Jeff, is I don't know why he's playing in the slot.
You think it's to give Rodgers and Ringo a fair opportunity?
No offense, but I don't care about a fair opportunity.
Yeah,
for
I'm
those
with you,
guys.
John.
And Vic said it again yesterday when we saw. By the way, Vic was great defining what a corner is. A corner is a corner.
That's one thing I learned yesterday.
I think we all know what corner is. No, we don't, Vic. So thank you for explaining it to certain people. But in the case of Quinyon, he admitted, yeah, in a perfect world he'd be outside. But basically, depth issues, getting the best 3 on the field, that type of thing. For the short term, he's going to play inside basically. And yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, I can make do with Avonte Maddox for a couple weeks before Cooper DeJean gets ramped up. I can live with that. Rather than messing with this guy, because I think this guy has a chance to be like a Pro Bowl level corner early in his career, like Christian Gonzalez was last year before he got hurt. Witherspoon, you've seen it recently. Stingley, Surtain. Those are big time players, but I think he's got that kind of talent, natural ability. And I don't want to play in the slot. I think it's a waste of time.
Doesn't it feel like the eventual starters, once Cooper finally gets ramped up and back out, Cooper in the slot, Quinyon outside slot?
Yes. Yeah. And that's why. So what? He got hurt for 3 weeks. And maybe you can't get to Cooper in the slot and say until week 4 or week 5. Say, all right. Avonte Maddox is healthy. He's proven he can play that position at a high level.
But then does it go back to the safety depth right now?
Well, the safety depth is an issue right now because CJ's out, but that's not a serious injury.
I mean, even when CJ comes back, because and again, our boy James Bradbury can really fix this problem.
Yeah, James is. That's one I got right. The more, Vic loves James Bradbury.
Vic loves him. And you know what, John? I talked to a couple national people this week that are in the know with the Eagles. It says basically the same thing you did. Don't let James Bradbury see the field because Vic won't take him off.
Yeah, he's too smart, and I knew he'd love him. And sure enough, he's loving him. So I don't know what, because the Eagles brought in Caden Stearns. Obviously, Vic had him in Denver. Vic drafted him, was a big part of that. So, but he's got to get healthy. I saw him yesterday. It looked like he was limping. Did you see him?
Yeah, I saw him. I'm like, who's that guy limping? I'm like, oh, that's Caden Stearns. I'm like, oh, why is he here again?
Yeah. So, evidently he said he's not going to practice for a week. It looks like more than that. We'll see if he's even involved. And then Sydney's going to be back at some point as well. So I don't think long-term safety is as big as an issue as people make it out to be. But right now, to get through training camp, they don't have enough bodies. And that's why Abonte's starting at safety right now in place of CJ in practice. And then James Bradbury kind of mixes in. I don't know. I don't want to mess with Quinyon Mitchell. I don't want to mess with him. That's where he's going to play. We all stipulate that. Vic stipulates that. That's ultimately where he's going to play, outside. Let him play outside.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Maybe they just like what they're seeing out of Rodgers and Ringo. But again, they're going to go back to the bench when Cooper does come back. So that's where I agree with you. It's why not just play him outside? Deal with it.
We're going to say, Jeff, let's move into something a little bit more positive. This defense is giving me agita.
I mean, we're not being negative here.
We're not. But I'm just saying,
realistic.
in general, the defense is giving me agita. As my
Well, if you don't
Italian
have the
grandmother would
pom-poms
say.
out, you're being negative.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
Yeah.
this defense is giving me agita. Jeff, what did you see in the game on Friday night? Who stood out to you in a good way? You mentioned Will Shipley. I thought he was great in the game. Who else stood out to you in the game that, is a guy that doesn't have a lot of expectations, but you're like, oh, maybe this guy can be a contributor? Is it a wide receiver? Is it a Will Shipley? Who did you see in the game that stood out to you?
It's so hard to take away stuff from the first preseason game, but I did mention Will Shipley. I thought Trevor Keegan had a really good game. As a matter of fact, I feel a lot better about their second team offensive line than I did a week ago.
They were great.
Yeah, his PFF numbers came out. They were tremendous. I think it was his PFF number. Somebody sent me it on Twitter.
I asked Will about Trevor, and he said he's fun to run behind. So I thought Trevor was great in the run. He had really good pass blocking numbers too. It looks like they have something in Trevor Keegan. I would not be shocked if he started down the line.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like when I was watching the game, I thought Keegan, because they were running it so well. Kenny ran it well. Shipley ran it well. Lou Nichols, Ty
Kendall
Davis
Milton.
Price, Kendall, all of them had effective runs during the game. And Darian Kennard Darian Kennard played the whole game.
The whole game. I didn't realize he played the whole game.
Either did I. He played all 83 snaps. And he graded out well. Max Sharping graded out well. Nick Yates graded out well.
Tyler Steen was solid.
Yeah, Tyler. But with Keegan specifically, I thought Keegan did a nice job in the running game because they were running so effectively. But he, according to PFF, he was below average as a run blocker, and he did a really good job as a pass blocker.
Yeah, wasn't he the highest rated pass blocker?
Yeah, he was the highest rated pass
blocker.
Yeah, but he was down as far as run block. But overall, it was a very good performance. And when people talk about Mekhi Becton versus Tyler Steen, and it certainly looks like Mekhi's going to win that job now. But 2025, I think Trevor Keegan might be the guy.
He's a good player. It's I heard a lot of good things about him coming out of Michigan. Obviously, I watch a lot of Big Ten football, so I remembered him from Michigan. He was an unheralded hero on that national championship team. But just watching him in practice, watching him in the game on Friday, rewatching the game, he's got some talent.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, I saw the numbers. I think he had 44 snaps, 0 pressures and sacks allowed, 80.1 pass blocking grade, highest of all offensive linemen. So I loved the pick coming out of Michigan. I guess it's great to hear that he's developing nicely. But John, we haven't heard much from him, and Jeff, we haven't heard much from him though in practice. I mean, it was good to see him out there in the game.
What's funny, Xander?
I didn't hear much from him in practices at all.
What's funny? If you look at the day 3 picks they took, right? Shipley's been, solid in camp. I mean, he's hit a wall a little bit, but he's been solid. He looks like he can play. Trevor Keegan can play. Johnny Wilson looks like he's better than what I thought he was going to be. I mean, Trotter is fifth round steal at this point.
I saw a couple guys with Johnny Wilson, by the way, because I'm going to guarantee here, if there's one position the Eagles are going to add, it's wide receiver.
They're wide receiver, absolutely.
They're not playing Johnny Wilson this year.
No.
But I saw a couple guys, like he made a really nice catch on Quinyon Mitchell at the end of practice, but he made 2 catches in practice, and everybody's saying those are good catches. He didn't catch them.
Yeah.
You saw Michael Clay and Joe P behind him. He bobbled them as he went to the ground. He didn't catch them. So I think a lot of people miss that. Yeah, I don't think Johnny's ready. He's going to make the team, and he's not been. Anaya Smith, on the other hand, is really up against it.
I don't think Anaya Smith is making this team.
No, it's going to be different, and they don't want to cut a 5th round pick, believe me. But he's struggling, and he's struggling.
You know what?
He's struggling mentally. Yeah.
Perfect example yesterday, John. Was it Andre Sam that was going against him?
Yes.
Yeah, a speedy receiver against a safety in one-on-ones that favors the offensive player, and you couldn't make the play.
Yeah. And he had a chance to make it. And Andre Sam did a good job, and CJ just lit up.
CJ was so fired up that whole Did you hear CJ be like on the touchdown Goddard had over Blankenship? He goes, "Oh, you ain't getting that 88. I'm coming back soon."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is. It is a cruel world when you're struggling and CJ Gardner-Johnson's around, because he will let you know that you are struggling. Poor
Anaya Smith has been getting throttled, I've heard, by CJ Gardner-Johnson in practice.
Yeah, he was not kind to when Anias was
he
not
looked like
able
a
to make
lost
it play.
puppy at his locker on Friday night. I'm talking to Shipley and I'm talking to Keegan, and then I see Anaya Smith. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it could be the football field could be a difficult place when you're struggling, and it has been that way. But yeah, they by far, to me, I'm going to say this, by far to me, the Eagles' best opportunity at wide receiver 3 is Britton Covey.
Get separation,
and they just don't want to use him because of the size and the limitations.
Crash test Covey. It's true.
Which is ironic because he could be a Cole Beasley type player for this team.
Yeah,
I know, but Jeff, he is small, man. I love the player. He does create incredible separation, and when you watch him, you can see it. I mean, John pointed it out on the show. We were talking about a bubble screen, and I'm like, boy, he got hit at the end of it, and he's like, I can't even get to that because I just can't believe he made something happen on a bubble screen. So, I mean, he does.
By the way, it's the most inefficient play in football.
I know, and he made 8 or 9 yards out of it. But at the end of it, Jeff, he got hit low and got flipped and destroyed. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how long Britton Covey's body can take the beating of being an everyday wide receiver 3.
That's what I worry about because he's their punt returner. Like, just like how I don't think Isaiah Rodgers is going to be their kick returner while he's starting at cornerback. And if he's not, then he's their kick returner.
I want to bring up the super chat just because we talked about this already. This is why we have Jeff Kerr on, everybody. Vulnerable Vitality drops us $20. Thank you, brother, for the super chat. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you guys drop a like on the show. A lot of people watching this morning. Let's get 200 likes. He brings up, I saw a wild stat from the preseason game. Trotter Sr. played against Josh Johnson in his first NFL game. Guess who Trotter Jr. got his first sack on? Josh Johnson continues to live in Eagles history. I love it. And Jeff Kerr brought that up at the beginning of the interview. Vulnerable. Thanks for bringing that up. That's pretty crazy, Jeff.
By the way, Josh Johnson's story. So Ed Kratz and I were talking to Jalix Hunt, and I asked him, what was it like catching Josh Johnson on that? He took off, and Jalix looks at me big-eyed. He's like, wait a minute, that was Josh Johnson I just got. I said, yeah. And he's like, man, he's fast, like, for his age. I'm like, Jalix Hunt, I grew up watching this guy, and I joked probably for like 20 teams. So, he was like a kid in a candy store Friday night. Like, it was, for me, talking to Jalix, the moment just didn't seem too big for him at all. It's like, man, I found a way. I did it. Like, I'm going to make the most of this.
I think he's going to be a good player.
Yeah. Remember,
How about Vic?
remember that famous Josh McCown picture with his
Oh,
with his daughter. I don't know if that I don't know how many daughters. I think it was his daughter and friends. I think. I don't know. But there were like 7 or 8 of them with all his jerseys. It was a great picture back in the day. I'm sure you remember it, Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Josh would need like 30. It's absurd how many teams he's played for. Good for him. I mean, he's made it this far in his NFL career, and
And he was out of football for a while too.
yeah, people keep saying, he can't play, and we all joke about him. But I mean, he's been an NFL player since 2008, and now he's set to back up Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. I think it's a bad decision. I've said pretty consistently, but you got to give that guy credit for hanging around as long as he has.
But by the way, John, speaking of Jalen's son, how about Vic's like backhanded compliment or whatever you want?
Yeah, that was yeah.
I was like, wait, hold on, replay. What did he just say?
He went backhanded on Jalen's son. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we all know that Jalix is a developmental player.
What did Vic say though? I didn't hear that.
He basically said, I'll try to get the exact quote. He basically said,
way better than I thought.
Yeah, better. It hasn't been great at practice. Played better than I thought, type of thing. And yeah,
he really is brutally honest.
It's awesome.
It's great.
Yeah. He can be the Eagles defensive coordinator for 20 years for all.
So here it is. He said, "Yeah, I thought Hunt did a little better than I thought he would, just based on practices." So he's basically saying, "Yeah, he's been pretty shitty in practice." I'm doing the big translation. He didn't say that. I think he's improving and he's coming, and I think he'll continue to improve. So yeah, that was, I thought.
I mean, he likes him. It's clear he likes him.
Oh, well, he's a big reason why he's here, but he knows it's going to take some time. So he basically said, I thought Hunt did a little better than I thought he would, just based on practices. So, he hasn't been great in practices, and he showed up a little bit in Baltimore. I wouldn't say drastically, but he was okay. Jalix, he got a really bad tackling score. I know that. So he missed a couple tackles, but he did pretty well on pass rush. And he played a lot. Played 24 snaps, so
he's going to get a lot of time this preseason. And I like how the approach of him is like they got enough depth there where they really don't have to play him if they don't want to.
I'm starting to get concerned at nose tackle.
Now Jordan asked that yesterday.
Yeah, Jordan played poorly, but he only played 4 snaps. So I'm not gonna overrate that. He did play poorly for 4 snaps, and that did not help the linebacker.
When him and Jalen left, it was when they both penetrated, and Jalen had the pass deflection. They're like, all right, yeah, we're good.
But Vic was asked about those backup nose tackles, and all he could come up with was Milton Williams. And then Milton spoke, and Milton's like, oh, I don't play nose. But he barely plays
nose tackle.
Yeah. So that's Marlon T. That's PJ Mustafer, your guy from Penn State. Even
Gabe Hall count in that mix?
Nah, Gabe Hall's too, well, he only weighs like 292, so I don't know. But you would think it would be Marlon first and PJ second, and he's already thinking about playing Milton Williams at the nose. That's what Jonathan Gannon had to do with Javon Hargrave in year 1, and that did not work out well.
No. Then we saw what happened when he didn't play him at the nose in year 2. He got a lot of money.
Yeah. And that means Jordan Davis, again, has to play a lot, or he's not going to be able to use those 50 fronts as much as he wants to.
What's Ndamukong Suh doing these days? Is he still
right?
He's still investing?
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, he's a really smart guy.
I think people don't realize how smart Ndamukong is because they think about him, kicking
Destroying
people's
people.
heads.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember I was in like a Twitter chat with him last year. We were just talking about football, and someone said, "Hey, I'm Suey. You want to come back?" Because I'm too smart to come back.
Yeah, he is.
He's right.
He's a smart
AKA,
guy.
I'm making more money for less risk than I am, going back and playing
He
football. And
invests his
bashing my head.
money. He's very wise with his money. He's he made a lot of money playing football, and he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, he's using it right. I want to go to one guy. We just got a super chat about him, and I've been waiting to ask about him. We talked about him a little bit in the game on Friday in our recap. Johnny Mack. D Love drops a super chat. D Love, thank you, brother. He says, I feel like safety Tristan McCullum is an underrated player. Can you tell us more about him? Has he had a good camp? You heard about him kind of in the game. I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I thought he looked good in the game.
Yeah.
I thought
what have you guys seen from him so far through camp?
He looked physical. He looked I thought he looked really good in the game. I don't know. The Eagles don't seem to love him. I mean, look, when camp started, he was taking second team reps. Now he's taking third team reps because they're trying, they moved Bradbury, they moved Avonte Maddox. So they're the second team guys now. And he's filtered down to the third team.
And it's a shame because I feel like he would make a lot of NFL rosters.
Yeah, and now they're bringing in Caden Stearns, and it's like, and Sydney's coming. So you start to look at the numbers game and say, how does he make it? I do think they like him. I think he'll be here on the practice squad if they can get him through waivers. Yeah. But I thought he should get a chance to compete more for a roster spot. Like I would have kept Devontae in the slot and let Tristan get those second team safety reps.
He practices. I mean, obviously it's not a shocker, but he trains like he does one-on-ones with his brother in Tampa, and Zion's going to be a starting cornerback for the Bucs this year.
Yeah, I think he's played well. Evidently, the Eagles don't think he's a backup safety at this point by their actions. Nobody said that to me, but their actions tell me they're bringing in Stearns. They're moving Avonte. They're moving Bradbury. So, yeah. And Sydney's going to be here when he's healthy. And Caden Stearns is going to be here when he's healthy. If he ever gets healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you said he showed up and he looked like he was limping.
Yeah.
Coming off the failed physical.
He was limping more than me, and I got my damn. I'm like, what the hell?
John's been doing a good job staying away from those camera tripods the last couple weeks.
Yeah, John's got camera pod PTSD at this point.
I do. I saw one yesterday. I'm like looking at it, like, God, boy,
he wanted to kick it.
Yeah,
I can't stand these people. Worst people in the world.
You know what they should? Honestly, people should pay to just stand with John at training camp. It's entertaining. It is the most entertaining thing. You learn a lot and you're entertained. He's like a late night talk show host.
I believe it. I would imagine John's up there with the top 2 or 3 guys to stand with of all the beat reporters in Philly. That would be my guess. Is that Johnny Mack?
There are a couple like people you kind of want to stand near at training camp and just kind of jot your notes with, because they'll see stuff you don't see, and then you'll see stuff they don't see, and then you'll see some backhanded compliments from John McMullen while the play's going on.
Jeff, thanks for joining.
Hey, you gotta have fun, man.
You gotta.
Training camp is a grind.
Yep, no doubt about it. Johnny Mack knows how to do it. We talk about it all here on Birds 365. Jeff Kerr, thanks for joining the show, man. You were great today, as always. One last thing on your way out the door. Is there anything that happened in the car ride that the viewers of Birds 365 need to know about, whether it's a snack, a playlist? What was going on with you?
John, do you want to share? I was too busy, trying not to get us killed.
No, it
Jeff,
was
Jeff,
pretty.
you were the designated driver. Is that
It,
how
it,
I'm
it was pretty
understanding it?
anticlimactic. I mean, Martin wanted to leave.
Oh
Jeff,
yeah, Martin
as he
wanted to ditch
typically
me.
does. Yeah, as he typically does. If you're not there on time, Martin Frank's leaving you. He's not a
Yeah.
foxhole
I told
guy.
him
Even if it's not his car, he's just like, give me the
No,
keys.
he's
I'm
out.
rolling out.
He's out, man. He's like, we got to get there if he's not here.
Well, John did applaud me for my sense of direction when we're getting on off 95 to 395. He goes, "Oh, Jeff Kerr knows the back way in," and then we're going. We really are going to. He's like, "Oh, maybe we got to."
Baltimore is a pain in the ass to find parking. They have no signs. No, it's
The streets are confusing.
it's terrible, and I got 97 parking lots. We were in A, which was essentially Camden Yards, and other guys had O, which I think we were in last year, and boy,
I've always been in B, so I knew how to get to B, and I thought you could still get to A for B, but obviously, that luckily the guy, the parking guy, gave us I'm like, okay, I know where A is. Just tell me how to get to A from here.
So Baltimore, and I've probably been there, I don't know, 10 times over the years, and I still can't get to a damn parking lot because A, they always move you. And B, there are no signs and nobody knows. Most of the parking, we got lucky this time because the parking attendant knew where A was.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was. And the press box was, we were expecting a disaster. And I don't know, Baltimore.
Nice.
Now I'm going to defend Baltimore. They have one of the best public relations staffs in the league.
Yeah, they do. And they're honest with you. Like, I talked to them earlier in the week, and they're like, "Well, not everything's ready yet." And
yeah, it was great. Though it was great.
Yeah.
It was so much better than the old press box. I don't know what they were worried about.
Yeah, I said to a couple guys on their PR staff that I know, I'm like, "Oh, you guys said this was." They're like, "Well, it's different than what we're used to," because they are used to being at the 50 and all that, and maybe it wasn't ready this week. I mean, maybe they met because of the elevator situation and stuff like that, but the press box itself is great.
Yeah, the press box was great. Now, I knew they weren't going to give us crab cakes for a preseason game, but they did give us a substantive crab dip.
That crab dip is good. Their food was incredible.
Yeah, it was. It's preseason. Like I said, they're not going to go all out, but yeah, overall, I'm going to give that's Kempski's job, but I'm going to give the new press box a thumbs up.
Was Jimmy there Friday night? I didn't see him.
I do not believe he went to the game. Yeah, I don't think he went.
Jeff, thanks for joining the show, man. We'll see what Jimmy Kempski goes to the next game this Thursday. Jeff, you heading down for the practice tomorrow?
Well, no. I got CBS duties this week.
Tell Romo to tip plays. I don't care. He's yelled at for tipping plays.
Talks. It's
tell him to tip plays. Tell him.
By the way, John, who's the best CBS team? I'll give him a holler for you.
I don't watch much football because I'm always at games. So I'm like, I don't. I mean, I think Jim and Tony are great. I think I don't know why people dislike Tony. I think
everybody rips Tony. I don't get Tony's a great guy, and everybody says he's inaccessible. Like, it all depends.
I think he's great. Now I thought he was a natural when he first started doing it.
He was the best.
He was he was one of those smart quarterbacks that could run things from the line of scrimmage. So he would tip plays and tell people, and they'd be in awe of it. Like, it's not that hard if you know what you're doing, and he knows what he's doing. So he would tell people before what they were running, and it would show. And I think he got in trouble for that.
Coaches did not like that. Yeah, they weren't crazy about it. Let's just
And I'm like, screw them, just do it.
My thing was, from what I heard this year, usually we have a week 1 doubleheader. I don't think we do because they made sure the 425 game was exclusive to Brady because he's making this broadcast. I think it's
by the way, speaking of TV, Jay Glazer was there yesterday.
I didn't even see him.
Because he was on the field.
Wasn't he shooting practice?
He was shooting, Brett. That's what I'm getting to. He was shooting video of practice, which we will literally be sniped by the snipers if we do.
Sniped and banned.
I'm obviously being a television partner, as you guys are at CBS.
It doesn't get me. It doesn't get me far. It will for Jay.
Yeah, but it does for the national guys. They're essentially paying for this access. But from the point of the Eagles in competitive advantage, well, why the freak is Glazer out there getting close-up videos, Saquon Barkley, on an outside zone play?
I'd love to know if he was told,
shutting down 30 minutes earlier.
I love to know if he was told, dude, you can't do that. We can't do it.
Evidently, he was not told you can't do that because he did it, and he didn't take it down.
And you know what? Like, it's so tough for me. Like, and again, this is where I do sympathize with fans, because when I'll like tweet like and I don't tweet that many things that go on, but I'll tweet like a one-on-one thing or two. And two guys, they asked me yesterday, "Is there any way we could see a video?" I'm like, no.
And by the way, I don't care that Jay did that. That's not the point. The point is the Eagles' competitive advantage bullshit. That proves how bullshit it is.
Well, I'll tell you how bullshit it is, because the team that's won the Super Bowl 3 times out of the last 5 years, every practice is open. A team that wins 10 games every year, Baltimore, has every practice open. A team that hasn't had a losing season since Tommy Maddox was their damn quarterback, open.
Yeah.
Every practice.
So anyway, yeah. Anyway, pet peeve. All right, Jeff. Thanks, bud. Enjoy
Jeff, thanks
New
for joining
York.
the show, man. Make sure you guys follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff Kerr CBS. Read all his work at CBS Sports. Does a great job covering Eagles, NFL, and the Phillies, as he mentioned earlier. Jeff, thanks for being here, man. We'll talk to you next week. All right, brother?
Yep, that was great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
See you, Jeff. There's Jeff Kerr joining us on Birds
Sorry,
365.
went on a tangent there, Xander.
And when we have Jeff Kerr, John, it's the tangent segment. That's what the segment is. It's a tangent segment between you and him, and it's great stuff. So we appreciate everybody being here. A lot of viewers this morning, Johnny Mac. Make sure you guys smash that like button. I'd like to try and get 200 likes. Can we get to 200 likes? Will the fans show us the love to get to 200 likes? I think we have about 100 likes right now through the first hour. So let's see if we can get up to 200 likes. Coming up next, we'll have Caden Steele in hour number 2. We'll talk about the offense coming up next after the break. Johnny Mac had practice yesterday, so he was down there. We did a practice recap last night on the channel. And then today, what are they off today, John, or a walkthrough, or what's today?
Yeah, I think they have a walkthrough. I'll double check. But yeah, they'll be up in Foxborough tomorrow for practice. Then Wednesday, walkthrough, Thursday, game. Friday off, Saturday back at the NovaCare complex.
So what are they next weekend? Are they Saturday and Sunday at the NovaCare?
They are Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Ooh.
Practice. Yeah, gearing up for that final preseason
big
game.
7-day week here for us. We'll be live every day. We'll be doing some shows every day on the channel.
Yeah, it's gonna be another. They don't have 4 in a row, but I know they have 3 in a row. I'll pull up the schedule when I get to break here, but yeah. So this week, a little bit of a lull locally because they're going to be in Foxborough, and there's only 1 joint practice instead of 2, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is.
Good stuff, Johnny Mac. Let's get to our next commercial break. Before I do that, I want to tell everybody about our newest sponsor here on Birds 365, BetUS. Go to betus.com.pa. The link is in the description if you want to bet on BetUS. We're going to be following along, by the way, on our Saquon Barkley jersey giveaway. For those who are just in here, I will post it up in the chat. If you become a member on JAKIB Sports, it's $5 a month to become a member on our channel. If you are a member of JAKIB Sports, you are automatically eligible to win a Saquon Barkley jersey. So what we're going to be doing is after each game, up to 20, because if they go to the playoffs and they win and they go to the Super Bowl, they'll have 20 games. We will give away 1 Saquon Barkley jersey if he hits over 125 yards from scrimmage. So passing receiving yards, rushing yards, kickoff yards, whatever it is. If he gets over one
kickoff yards in there,
if he gets any yards, John, 125 yards of impact.
I'm joking because he's never
going to reach. I'm just saying.
He's never going to.
If he does get it, 125 plus, we're going to be giving away a Saquon Barkley jersey, one per week. So that could be up to 20. And then I got a bunch of other giveaways. Some of you saw the poster I teased last week, which was epic, a picture of Jalen Hurts, a painting, a drawing of him. A couple of people wanted to buy it for me. They're like, don't give it away. I'll buy it from you. It's a beautiful painting. So I'll show that off as well. But plenty of more giveaways for all of our members. And we're going to be doing that prop bet with Saquon Barkley on BetUS all season long. Are you guys looking for a new sports book this football season? Go to BetUS. BetUS is the answer. And JAKIB Sports is proud to announce our partnership with them for the upcoming football season. Right now, everybody, when you click that link, receive a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. And if you deposit using crypto, it's up to 200% on a sign-up bonus. So good stuff there. If it's good for former Birds quarterback Michael Vick, it's definitely good for JAKIB Sports. So go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. The link is in the description. Before I hit the break, Alexander Harris, one of our newest members, by the way. This is a Johnny Mac appreciation super chat. Keep up the good work. Alexander Harris, we appreciate that super chat, man. And a great name to you. I am an Alexander as well. So we got 2 new members today, Jason A-Team and Alexander Harris. Thank you both, guys. Now let me tell you a little bit more about BetUS. We'll be back on the other side in about 3 minutes.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.